Top of the top.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Ski. Market Mondays. Back
Utah
at
edition.
it. Yes.
So don't stop. Live from Salt Lake.
Reporting from Salt Lake City, Utah. Mountain time. Mountain West time.
Yeah.
Man, we was out here all week for All-Star Weekend. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on in the show. One of them ones again. One of them ones.
Had an eventful evening last night.
Michael Jordan, Chris Paul, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Carmelo Anthony.
Yes. Yes, we got some stories.
Keep going, Ian.
We got some stories.
I was getting a bunch of texts like, where you at? I'm like, I'm in Mexico. Hey, like, the boys out here working every room. I said, I'm not there.
Oh, man. The show don't stop. The market is closed today, but Market Mondays is open
for business. That's
of course. We got some things that we got to talk about for sure. But before we start, just wanted to give you a quick rundown. A few important things. NAACP Awards, Los Angeles, California. We will be out there this weekend. Yes. And it's also my birthday weekend as well. So
we going crazy?
Yeah. Saturday. Got something we're going to do on Saturday for my birthday. And then we're going to be back in New York for my actual birthday. And we're going to be doing something special in New York as well. But NAACP Awards, that would be a dope way to kick off my birthday weekend if we're fortunate enough to win.
Absolutely.
So there's still a few days left to vote, guys. So remember, me and Troy are nominated for Best Social Media Personalities.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like our chances.
Click the link on our website. Click the link in the description of this video under the NAACP Awards tab and vote. You can vote once a day up until, I believe, the 24th of February.
Once a day per email.
Once a day per email.
So if you got like 3 emails.
So yeah, man, let's see what we can do, man. Let's see what we can do. I got a tuxedo. Shout out to Mike B.
Shout out to Mike.
Man.
I heard he put some stuff that's coming to my closet. I said, Mike, you can't show the people. I gotta wear it first, bro. Shout out to Mike though.
Let's do it.
You got a tux for the NAACP Awards or the birthday party? I gotta know what kind of vibe to bring. Oh wow,
both.
Okay,
different colors.
We got it's gonna be a hell of a 3-day run. So just drip responsibly. That's all we said.
Speaking of LA, the time has come. Yes. Market Mondays Live World Tour. First stop is Los Angeles, California, the Novo Theater, March 11th. March 11th. We will be in Los Angeles, California. Everybody has been asking us to come to LA, to California, to Southern California for a long time. This is the first show that we have ever done in any capacity in LA ever. So it will be historic. We will have surprises.
Of course.
It will be a vibe.
Of course.
We'll have some music. It's going to be one of them ones, man. If you ever watch what we've done with these live events, you already know the standard that we set. And this is the kickoff. We're doing Toronto. We're doing London. We're doing Chicago. We're doing Ghana. But the first stop is LA. So let's get this tour set off right. Los Angeles, Vegas, San Diego, the IE, Arizona, the whole West Coast. We need you guys to come out. We need you guys to come out in full support. Because we don't want to seem like we have a Atlanta bias or East Coast bias. They like, yo, why y'all always doing this and y'all never coming to the West Coast tonight. So this is for the West Coast. We're going to make sure that this is a night to remember. We're bringing out a lot of surprises. We're going to bring out we're not holding back on this. Like, this is going to be something. This is going to be one of the ones, man. So click the link in the description of this video.
Yes.
You can also click the link on our website in the Market Mondays World Tour tab and get your tickets for LA. The other cities, the tickets are not available yet, but you can join the wait list. You can join the wait list for the other cities, so as soon as they become available, you'll be notified. But for Los Angeles, you can buy tickets. You can buy tickets for Los Angeles right now. So Market Mondays Live World Tour, first stop, Los Angeles. Click the link in the description. Click the link on our website. Buy tickets. Get there. They're extremely affordable, extremely reasonably priced.
And they shouldn't be.
You're going to get way more value. You're going to get way more value than what you pay for. So let's make it
10 new trading secrets I've never talked about before, 10 new swing trading secrets, 10 long-term investing strategies I've never talked about before, 1 new price target for futures, and I'm probably going to give away $5,000 at the LA show. Get your tickets now.
5,000. Man, that's the beauty of doing like a tour. It's like every city gets to challenge the next one to see who's going to be the biggest, who's going to turn up the most. So LA, I got a good feeling they're going to set the tone for this thing. And then, Toronto, it's just going to keep picking up each time. But LA is going to set the tone for the whole tour. And that's why it's a world tour. So everybody that wanted to see us in different parts of the world get a chance to see us. And shout out to the good folks at Ally. You know, the tour is brought to you by Ally. It's one of those things, man. They got the vision, they understood the vision, and they understand the impact that the mission that we're on. And working together with them has been great. So shout out to them.
Presented by Ally.
That's a fact.
So
that when we dropped the flyer last week, it kind of set some things off, man. I heard phone lines were going crazy. I heard text messages were blowing up.
Crazy.
I heard meetings were called. I heard strategy teams were put in place. I heard the marketing teams might have got fired. Shout out to everybody that reposted and retagged and got their tickets, man. This is going to be monumentous, man. This is
and I'll say this too.
Before. Yeah, go ahead.
For all the earners and pandas, please repost the flyer. At this Saturday, I would pick one person that is reposted, and I would give you $1,000 cash up.
Ooh.
I need to see these flyers go crazy. Come out to the show. Let's have a good time. The only show that is making you money in real time. And if I've made you money, please put yes in chat. And y'all know my live performance is way fire than me sitting down. So leather jacket vibe. I want to not being humble. I'm here to be entertaining and to make you money. Let's go.
This is true. And during the Super Bowl, shout out to Rihanna's halftime performance. Ian was texting like, I'm inspired. I got an idea. I said, Ian, I don't know if we can float inside of the theater, bro.
We got to find a way.
Shout out to it's her birthday today, too. Shout out to Rihanna. Happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday. Pisces season.
It has begun.
Pisces season.
It has begun.
Yes. One of the ones. All right. One last thing. Earn Your Leisure. We got a dope episode tomorrow. Cheryl McKenzie Daniel. She has the largest Black construction company in America.
That's incredible.
5-generation business.
Yo, like let that settle in. Like we talk about generational wealth, 5 generations of the business.
Yeah, she's all tied. So they have a group. Her, Don Peebles, and
Craig Livingston.
Yep. And they all work with you. They have a real estate team. Don does the development. She does the construction.
Together?
Yeah.
That's like Bill
that's the all-star team for real.
Yeah, that's the tower in New York. What's it called? The skyscraper that they're building.
The Affirmation.
Yeah, the Affirmation Tower. They're all part of that group to try to make that happen. So it'll be the first. If that gets through, that'll be the first to ever be a Black-owned development, Black construction, and Black developer in one. So they doing some big things. So check that episode out. Extremely intelligent woman. As I said, 5 generations in this thing. So
and that's not easy. That's not easy, especially
that's
when
impressive.
I mean, she tells a story about how it was passed down to from her dad to her generation. But now the issue is it's one of those things. Succession is a real thing, right? So how does it get passed down to the next generation? Because they may not have the same interests as you. So that's one of those things like we never discuss, especially in our community. Like, how do we pass it down, especially if the kids aren't interested, or how do we make them at a young age become interested in some of the things that we love, and how we accumulated some of the assets and some of the wealth that we did in our years as adults. So she has some good insight on it.
Check it out. All
That's
right,
amazing.
Ian, the floor is yours. Any announcements you want to make?
Stock Club call will be at 9:30 Central tomorrow. And next week I'll announce the first 10 new features of version 3 of Stock Club. So I've been working behind the scenes to put some magic together for the new version of Stock Club. The first 10 features I'll announce next week. Get your tickets for LA. 10 new trading strategies, 10 new swing trading tips, 10 new long-term, and I'm going to be giving out a little bit of money at the show. Get your tickets now. I know y'all want us to come to Seattle or Portland. Come to LA. The tour dates are the tour dates. Let's go.
That's the only West Coast but stop. on the tour. So Albuquerque, New Mexico, maybe we can go there next year.
Shout out to the Lobos. Love y'all.
Shout out to Lobos.
Shout out to all my people in Scottsdale.
Shout out to
Shout out to
Lobos.
Phoenix, Vegas. Hold up.
One thing I forgot to mention, me and Troy will be doing our open enrollment for EYL University on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We haven't done that in a very long time, but on our YouTube channel at Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we will be doing open enrollment. We got a surprise topic and a surprise guest, but we haven't done this in probably 4 months.
Damn, LeBron gonna be on?
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
So, all right. Troy, disclaimer?
Yeah, man. So you know how this works, man. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important you do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. People, please continue to do your own research. When it's great research, share the research. When you find out who you got it from, give them credit. And if not, that's not how we build community. So make sure you share it, man. Show love, show love, show love, show love.
Tag 5 friends and tell them to watch the show and tune in right now.
Right now. It's going up.
So let's talk about it. Okay. What is the easiest way to know which ETF has the highest score in their industry?
I know people want to know how to judge these without having to lean on us. So if you go to ETF.com / and put in whatever ETF you're looking at. So / VOO, because it's one of the ones that I love the most in Vanguard. You'll be able to see the score or grade that they give it. It's one of the highest scores you have available. It's a 95. I absolutely love VOO. I think one of the best managed funds of all time. But go through and look at SMH, VTI, VGT, and see which ones are doing well and what grade they have. Also, if you go look at that 5-year chart, it'll tell you how price action or price is done historically over the last 5 years. But if you have a good grade plus price action that is going up and to the right, that's how you know you are in a safe ETF. It's just like school. Like if you get to the C range or the B- range, you want to stay away from it. You want everything that are A's and A pluses. And you can also break them down by sector. So if you want to look at oil, natural gas, housing, real estate, you can break them down there as well.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, and that's a great point when you talk about sectors, because there's different ETFs inside these sectors, and so it will show you how it's performing inside that sector. So when it gets its grade, it's based on how it's performing, but also how it's performing inside of its own sector. And so it's a great tool. I think ETF DB is another one that I use. So when I'm talking about how I look at the performance of an ETF, I'm looking at obviously what is inside of it. And so I think that's the most important thing. People just hear the 3 letters and like, oh, it's an ETF, but no, you really need to see what the ETF has inside to see if those are companies that you want to invest in. And so that's a great thing. And finding the trends, right? It'll show you how it's performed over the past year, how it's performed over the past 3 years, how it's performed over the past 5 years. All these things you need to take into account before you make that type of decision. Another thing is how long the ETF has been around.
Yes.
Right?
You don't want any new ETFs.
Right, look at some of the start dates of some of these ETFs. If you look at them, it's like, 2020, 2021. Then you'll see some at 1999. Oh, okay, right. And then I know we'll talk about some of the other variables. We're looking at volume being one of them, but like all these things are things you should be looking at, right? When we talk about volume, and the reason it's important is like how many people are trading that on a daily basis, right? Is it in the hundreds of thousands or is it in the millions? Is it in the tens of millions? The more value, the more likely you're to get in and out of trades, the more you're not going to be stuck with something, especially if you're doing options. And we spoke about that. It's like, there's no volume.
You can't get out even if you got in a great trade.
Or buy it from. So you got to be mindful of all these things. So ETF.com is a great one, an absolutely great one. ETFDB is a great one. And even when I'm doing from an individual standpoint, Zacks.com was one of those ones. And
I like Zacks a lot.
But just from a grading system, it was like, okay, you can see how they've been graded. They can see how they perform on a quarterly basis, and they break down their quarterly performance by the things that they're offering. So all those things, when we talk about do your research, especially if you're doing ETFs, which we said is probably one of the more safer things to invest in, that in index funds. These are great tools. Great tools. Use all the tools that you have at your disposal.
Absolutely. And if you go to the efficiency tab, you can also look at the max downside that ETF will have and the maximum upside. It's pretty interesting to see. So like the max downside deviation over a 12-month period for VOO is 6% maximum drawdown that they're expecting over the next 12 months. It's pretty damn good in comparison to like Lucid Motors or somebody like that. So you need to know what the drawdown or what the worst case, and some of you, just got over your little Valentine's Day heartbreak. You got to start checking to see what's real and what's not early in your investment portfolio, as well as you doing your love life. Shotty, you had a good Valentine's Day?
Shout out to all,
every day
Every day's amazing.
Day.
Shout out to all the lovers.
Every day is Valentine's Day. Another good site too is Morningstar. Morningstar,
like Morningstar.
You've been using that for years.
Yeah, they have a lot of professionals use Morningstar. They have a paid subscription, but they have free products as well. And they rate everything. They rate 529 plans, they rate ETFs, they rate a variety of different things. And you have like different ratings. Like, so 5 stars is the highest rating that you could possibly get in Morningstar. So that's another site. So there's a variety of different sites out there, and you can just see whichever one you feel most comfortable with, but you should definitely do some level of research on the ETFs.
Use all 3.
Yeah. And the exchange traded funds, ETFs, once again, is an easier way to invest. It's a safer way to invest as opposed to picking individual stocks. And it gives you more specific target in an industry as opposed to an index fund where like a S&P 500 index is going to cover everything, right? Like 500 companies, where let's say like a QQQ, that's going to be just in technology. So, or like, is it one will be just in consumer discretion, or just in energy, or just in financial services. So you get like 10 or 15 companies that's just in the financial services industry, as opposed to every single company that's on the stock market. So, it's something to think about, especially if you are looking to invest and don't know, the best way to go about it. That's an easier way to get involved.
2 tech, 2 index, no stress. Go look at the score of VOO, VTI, Apple, and Microsoft, and tell me what the average score is. We want companies that are going to stand the test of time, do incredible over long periods of time, and not have to stress. This is an easy way to know if these companies or ETFs are doing incredibly well. Please put in chat, investing is simple. Humans make it complicated. 2 tech, 2 index, no stress.
And they're updated too, right? So if there's a quarter, or if there's a year that ETF is not performing, then it's updated. That 95 score won't be 95; it'll be dropped. So it's one of those things. It updates live. So definitely use the tools.
Okay, let's talk about this. ChatGPT, last week we said that ChatGPT predicted the stock market was going to start going down on Wednesday,
February 15th,
and it has gone down every day since then.
It's true.
Is that a coincidence, or?
I said last week, it's a coincidence. Like, the market has the greatest probability of going up on Mondays and Fridays. It was a low volume day on Friday. The futures contracts expired on Friday. So, and then also, if we look at the S&P 500, when we got to that 41.95 mark, we was aiming to slide down anyhow. Do I think the market is overdue for a correction? Yes, at some point. But do I think this is like the moment that AI went sentient and changed the stock market forever? No. We'll see, like, normally when expiration was on February 17th, we'll see the volume pick back up in like 3 or 4 days, and we'll be good from there. So they also had another report that it was supposed to be March 15th. So that's when I was like, can't move the goalpost a month now. Like, so, but good call on it to drop on a Wednesday. The market does have a high propensity to fall on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and go up on Monday and Friday. But no, I think if we would have had the market open today, we would have seen a push up, but no. And when they moved the goalpost, I was like, I would love to see a price. If I got a price for how much, or even a percentage base, how much will fall, then I'll be like, okay, this is amazing, great. But it was a coincidence more than anything.
Yeah, I think the how we paraphrased it last week was where's the information being based off, right? What is the research that they did to come to that conclusion? So it was like kind of one of those things. Yeah, it's definitely looks coincidental. The other part was the next day was, you know what, we saw ChatGPT inside of Bing, and they were like, hey, we put out a lot of false answers. We're still working the kinks out of the system. So, you know, you cover all bases when you say that. Like, hey, it's not at its full capacity yet. We made some errors inside. They've given some wrong information. Even from the Google standpoint, Google, same thing. You know, both companies are saying this isn't at its peak, and why would it be, right? We've only been in this technology from that standpoint for about 4 months from a user standpoint. So, I mean, it's too early for it to be doing predictive measures like that, especially we don't know the tools and research and the exact numbers. If it starts doing that, then, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be in trouble.
I would say, though, I would love if there was a model that did predict pricing structure like that, because I think it would make the value of the crystal ball even higher. Because if ChatGPT had a version of the stock market, let's say that it made it worth 200 billion, mine has to, I'm black, so mine would be worth like 45 billion as a result, right? We'll talk about cultural influence and vultures and all that later. But I think what this modeling is going to show that it is predictive. Programmers are terrified right now. And I think people that have not put in a lot of work in the stock market need to be afraid. Because some people ask me, like, will it put you in danger if ChatGPT makes a version of your pricing model? I'm like, no, it will only make me more valuable. So I hope that they put one out, but I think this is a little bit too early. Also, if we look at when fund flows have been coming out of ETFs damn near every day this year. So, like, if you guys just go Google fund flow for an ETF or most hedge funds, there aren't as many people buying as there was in 2020 and early 2021. So, but those cycles of when, so if we look from January 20th, which is the start of the new futures contracts, and we bottomed out at 39.66, we went up to 42.08, and then we came down and finished around 40.49. It's really like when you have those 20 and 30-day cycles, people know that they have to have their money out. The market ran up for a good 10 days as soon as that new cycle started, and then the money started to slowly come out. So, no, I don't think so. But for everyone listening, I'm pro ChatGPT, especially since Microsoft put their little mafia hands into it and got a great control of it. I want to know what you guys' thoughts are on what Elon said about he is fearful of how AI can become dangerous, even though he helped fund it in the beginning.
Yeah, you know, that's the interesting part. Because when we looked at ChatGPT and I looked inside like the people who were funding it in the beginning, his name came up.
Yeah.
Right. And so like that was something that I had to uncover. I'm like, wait, hold on. Because when I posted that article, shout out to everybody in the chat, I posted that article in the chat, and I'm like, oh wow, that's his take on it. But you're the person that created the thing that could be destructive.
But oftentimes we can fund something and then the powers that be. So you guys need to go Google Sam Altman and what he's done. Amazing entrepreneur. But I keep telling everyone, anytime when people are like, hey, this tool is going to democratize anything, it never democratizes it. It becomes a dictatorship. So initially they wanted like a better version of Google to give you every answer in the world, and it was supposed to be free. And then of course you get to 1 billion users in 2 months or whatever. Then it's like, what if we monetize it? Not mad at the thought, but we just have to know anytime that we are pitched on a product, service, idea, entity that is going to democratize anything, at some point there's going to be like a for-profit model attached. So, and there's nothing wrong with it, but when you have that, you want to protect that profit at all costs versus helping the people. And it's just the sad truth of like Western philosophy on finance and corporate structure and stuff like that. So maybe he funded it early and he had one vision for it, and as it grew, they had another.
Fair warning.
Yep.
Well, it's like the guy who creates Frankenstein and then he gets up off the table.
Too tough. Yeah. I mean, you can fund shooters, but if you can't shoot back, shooter's going to get you at some point. We asked for this in our robot.
That just makes you a target.
Yes.
Is the era of easy gains officially gone?
Yes, I believe so. I posted something in our chat with Howard Marks, and he was saying, Rashad, you brought this up too, like post 2000, really 2003, interest rates have been low, but really after the Obama era, when interest rates were flat or at zero, technically, if you look at it in aggregate, interest rates were negative for a while from 2010 to like 2016, because we probably should have had a crash in 2015 to 2016. So it was easy for any company to go public, or easier, and it was easier for them to push out crazy gains, 10 to 19% on average. Now, the thing that makes Buffett special, he's been able to get 20% return for his fund for like 60 years, which is like unheard of. But companies that were not of that much value, like Lucid Motors, I don't want to pick on them again, or even like ARKK, to have the emergence that it did as an ETF, that's only happened because we were in a low interest rate environment. Now, I said it before, we get to see who can really put up returns. And when interest rates are low, almost everyone can win. That's like us going to a playground and playing on like a 7-foot rim. The rim's at 11 feet right now. So the era of like a tech company going public, having easy capital, customers having money to throw around at any product or service, those days are gone. And maybe for the next 4 or 5 years, it's going to be a lot tougher. I won't touch on this too much because I was told not to, but we need to look at the leadership internationally and compare it to the leadership that we have here, and see if we are getting better scores amongst our presidents and Congress versus everyone else. I'm getting to travel a little bit. They're working on the airport in Tulum. I'm seeing what they're building in Playa. I'm seeing what they're doing in Mexico City. Mexico City looks like New York in 1920. We need to move rápido, vámonos, quickly, Biden. We need to make some changes in terms of infrastructure and money that we're putting forth. Because if China, Russia are all coming together, Brazil, to team up against us, China has invaded Africa and South Africa, we're 2 presidents away from the country like being bankrupt and not having a chance to come back to being the predominant leader that we once were. Scary times.
Scary times, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So let's do this dead or alive segment.
Do your way, Tom. We got vital signs, or we healthy life. Yeah, we're gonna run down a few. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Let's start with this. Let's start with an ETF. IYT is the ticker. iShares Transportation ETF. And so this is one of those things. If you look inside this ETF, this is everything that transportation. We're talking about trains, planes, and automobiles. And so
that's funny.
UPS is the leader inside of that ETF. Uber's inside there. FedEx, Delta, Union Pacific. What are your thoughts? Dead or alive?
This was alive and well. There's a couple names in there that I don't like, but overall, this is and we haven't had a new high in it since May of last year, but it's been slow and steady. And when I look at like a macro chart, when I look at my analysis, it hasn't had a negative year technically since 2009. 2020 would have been like a great time to buy. It was many things. It was at 125.95. It's currently at 234. In probably about a year and a half, it should get to 290. So IYT is alive for sure.
Yeah, that's one of those ETFs when you think about, obviously, when nobody's traveling inside of the pandemic, at some point we're going to get back on planes. We're going to get back on trains. Right, people are still going to be driving around at some point. So, yeah, to see it fall to that number and see where it's at now, I mean, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. All right, so we got the vital signs are good on that. Dead or alive? Here we go. Ticker SNPS, chip design company in the AI sector. SNPS, Synopsys, right?
Alive, well, looking good, fine, vibrating. Synopsys is one of the ones. It's not talked about a lot. It's one of those sleeper picks, for sure. But yeah, man, Synopsys probably is one of the best stocks in the market overall right now. It's at 354.45. Hit a previous high of 391 in July. In about a year and a half, have it going to 454. Synopsys is amazing. Like, even everyone in Stock Club, put this on your watch list. Amazing.
Synopsys has vital signs that are pretty high. All right, let's go to another one. Let's do AMAT, American Tower. This is a REIT.
It's alive. I don't love it, but it's alive. I think Synopsys out of this group will be a better pick if you want more gains, a little bit more of an aggressive push. But yeah, American Tower is They're doing good. They're doing good. In about a year and a half, they should be back at 152. My 5-year target for them is 241.46. Yeah, they're good.
All right, so we got strong signs there. Let's move on to MCHP, Microchip Technology Incorporated.
This one is alive too. So shout out to the person 2 weeks ago. You only think Apple and Microsoft is alive. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for saying we should do the segment. This one is alive and well. It doesn't move as fast as some of the other ones in the microchip space, but this one has been doing pretty well. It's a little bit choppy, of course. 2022 has been rough on it. But when it got to that $58 level, that was definitely a good time to buy. It's at $83 now. By end of the year, it should be like at 107. MCHP is doing very well.
All right, let's go to the next one. MS, ticker MSCI, MSCI Inc. If you look at this 10-year chart, man, this is like a one of those things
sexy,
you
right?
It's a sexy chart. What are your thoughts on it right now?
This looked like Gianna's bank account after his agent started doing all his deals. Yes, MCSI, incredible. It was at 679 back in 21. In about 2 years, I have it going to 836.27. MCI, I absolutely love. And I'm going to keep stressing. You need to find
MSCI.
Yeah, MSCI. My apologies.
Some of my 90s, baby, we're going to think that's the telephone company you're talking about.
That's funny, but true. Even Rashad, you're a millennial or you're a Gen Xer? Come on, what side you on? You get to claim both.
He's with us, man.
Millennial.
He's with us. We all in the same boat, man.
Millennial.
Gotcha. But yeah, MSCI I love. But you guys need to search for 2 companies in Latin America, 2 in Africa, 2 in London, 2 in Australia. I'm gonna keep saying that until you guys get it. But yeah, MSCI is amazing.
Strong vital signs. All right, let's try this one. ADI, Analog Devices Inc.
Analog Devices. This is one of my babies from like 2018. Yes, this is sleeper. ADI is like an instant bucket. It's like Jamal Crawford. He don't get like this one. Don't get all the credit that it deserves. But a safe pick for sure. Volume is amazing. Very little drawdown if you hold it for a long period of time. ADI, the vital signs are amazing for sure. I would look to buy it maybe around, if it got to like 118.47, I would want to buy it, or maybe even 138.12. And then my 2-year target for is 208.53.
All right, so we've had strong life support. Let's try this one. KLAC, KLA Corporation. What you think?
I like it. I can't lie. I will wait. You have to wait to 260 flat to buy it, because it's going to go through a down cycle for a second. When it does at 260, I like it. And if you're doing like a swing trade on it, I would get out like at 495. But this is a good one.
No, so we have everything alive. Everything's looking alive on this one.
They say the boy only call out Apple or Microsoft, and I got to give him more. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give him more.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you got it opens up your horizons on things to be looking at. Obviously, we talk about the mega tech companies because they're important, but there are investments that you can make inside the stock market that are not tied to Microsoft, or not tied to Apple, and they're in different sectors.
Yeah.
And so we had how many is that? We ran down an ETF 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that has strong vital signs, man. So if you don't have them on your list, make sure you put them on your list, put on your watch list, and track it, and see how they perform. And I mean, the fact that you gave out numbers to go along with what they should be looking at, I mean, this makes too much sense.
Yeah, and what would make even more sense is for you to get your tickets to the LA show.
So you saw that market?
Hey, in LA at Novo Theater. And I would give out probably 10 or 15 more of these that I've never talked about before. Back to you guys.
LA.
This guy's good.
LA, big city of dreams. LA. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into some social commentary. Grant Cardone, he's trending right now in the news. He has a video where he paraphrasing what he said, but he has a video where he said that he has 50% of his audience are black people.
40. He said 40, but go ahead.
Under the age of 40. I think it was 50% under the age of 40, but regardless, a large portion of his audience is black people under the age of 40. And the reason why is because he talks in street terms and makes it, relatable.
Appealing.
Yeah. So obviously a lot of people have added their commentary to it. A lot of people were not happy with what he said. Some people were defending what he said. So yeah. What's everybody's thoughts on this?
Troy, you want to go first? I'm gonna go crazy.
I want you to set it off. Actually,
well, for full context, I'm friends with his right hand man, Jared. Shout out to him. Shout out to the team. Grant's book 10X has had a huge impact on me. Everyone in the comments, you don't have to worry. I'm not about to cape. There's two trains of thought. One is, my first thought is, why is everyone so upset? Grant has been on record saying the N-word, has been super supportive when we have died at the hands of police officers, that he was supportive of the police. And he's had some statements that were not in benefit to us. Also, Matt was on live earlier. Shout out to MG. Matt's predominant point was, if you will go support everyone else and not support us, isn't this the treatment that we kind of deserve? I'll say it all the time. I'll give a price, and it's not until Josh, Peter, Mike Novogratz, Cuban to come on and be like, damn, Ian knows what he's talking about. Does it take a stamp from them to make us valuable? If that's the case, and all the vulture commentary, you can't be a vulture if we're running to him and giving him money and giving Vlad money. And Matt said that I've seen people give $2,000 to be on a webinar and get pitched endlessly. And then Troy Rashad, they'll go do an event in Chicago for free, and they have to tell you and promote the shit like it's a paid event. Why? I have to give y'all Sniper, go crazy for Jersey to get y'all to show up to Hulu Theater. Why? But shout to Josh and shout to Peter. If they come on, it's like, oh my God, Ian's in perfect in alignment with the market analysis that they give. Once we, and this goes to your point last week, Rashad, until we begin to appreciate and respect our Black entrepreneurs like they are stars, this will always happen. So now you have Vlad, Adam22 on the button, gonna see this and gonna clip it up and put it on his Patreon. Any white entertainer that caters to a Black audience is somehow deemed higher. But can we be mad if we give our and even with this, the other part that I saw too, because I can understand what he was trying to say, and we've all done interviews where we misspoken. But Grant's a great marketer. He didn't use that street term on accident. He used that shit to go viral. So when y'all get mad at me and like, yo, Troy, Ian always tripping. Why, how y'all deal with that attitude? Sometimes you have to put on the villain cape in order to even make y'all pay attention. I guarantee when the sales report come out next week, them sales are going to be up 3x from Black people off of what he said. But you have to respect and love the people that are here to help you now. And this is the other truth that most people don't want to hear. Majority of the crypto companies that advertise in the Super Bowl feel the same way. Majority of the NFT people in the space feel about Black people the same way. And all the fucking luxury designers feel the same way. He's just the only one dumb enough to have said it. Those are my thoughts. Do I think it was right? No. But every company on earth feels this way about us if we do not protect our data. But what do I know? Meta, I'll see you next week. What do I know?
wait. My thoughts, I'll keep it as plain as possible. I'm not even surprised. The statement didn't even surprise me. Because he's talking from a personal circumstance, but if we just look at any industry, if we look at real estate, if we look at investing, if we look at music, is that not the same case? Right? Is it not the dumb down the audience and double the dollar? Right? The problem is that, and on the inverse of it is like what you said, we got to be exceptional to be even looked at as good. Like we got to be exceptional. We can't have any flaws. We can't have anything on our to even be looked at as good or even be respected in the same light.
Yes.
So that's the major issue. I'm not surprised by what he said because he's looking at it like, yo, that's an audience that's untapped. That's an audience that I can, find revenue from. He's gonna try to take advantage of it.
And can we be real? There's a whole bunch of them that's looking at the audience that we built that want to take our audience from us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If y'all don't see that shit loud and clear, like I'm gonna be real. Josh called me 3 weeks ago. Hey, be careful about this person trying to partner with you because they want to take your audience. These are all white entrepreneurs. He said, be careful. They don't really want to align with you. They just want to see what you have and try and take it away.
Yeah,
you can see it clear as day.
It's the reason why you'll see corporate calls, right? They're like, wait, they've touched a base that we can't reach. How do we work? How do we get to that part? And so it's a fine balance that you gotta tread on, right? But the interesting part is, well, let's see the reaction now. Let's see how many of that 40% are still rocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's their take on it? If they invested with them, if they were part of the 10X company, because we've been there and I've seen it. You can see it,
Yeah.
right? Did it take this moment for people to see this clearly? Is what I'm really interested in.
People
Or had people just had blind ignorance to it, like, all right, well, nah, this is great. And like you said, from a marketing standpoint, there are great strategies inside of some of the marketing that he does. But
absolutely,
when you're the product of some of the marketing and it's intently done, is it for your benefit or is it for the person that's selling it to you? So we just gotta be mindful of it, man. But what he said, it wasn't shocking to me. It didn't hit me like, oh my God, I can't believe he said it. It was like, yeah.
I mean, and Nike does it, and Louis Vuitton does it. I see all of a sudden they were losing a little bit of market share to a couple other companies, and they went and grabbed Pharrell. Smart, same thing. Adidas does it. They're gonna try and patch things up with Ye to get that black dollar back in. We're seeing banks do it, and we'll get those calls. Hey, maybe we can find a way to integrate that. No, integrate that equity. Integrate the equity. Hey, no, we're not gonna play. We're not gonna arbitrage the audience for a look. We don't need no look. We already good looking. Bring that money. This is Ian and the thoughts of the Red Panda Rebellion. This has no reflection on Earn Your Leisure, Troy Rashad. Right? Banks, bring the money. You need no look. Been looking good since I was 3. Quit playing. You know, say, como se dice, we're not playing this year. I'm not playing with corporate this year. I'll be back on Wall Street too. If you want the culture and equity and all that, actually help put some money into the audience hands too.
Well, also they all do the same. They all do the same playbook. So it's a variety of business. You brought up the fashion and all that, and that's true. But it's a niche as far as business people that their strategy, white business people, their strategy, some of them, they have adopted a strategy of poaching black culture. They hang around rappers. They have events and rappers come to the events. And they wear jeans and hoodies and sneakers and they curse and they use slang and everybody thinks that they're a genius and they use that to raise their valuation 100x and they become rich off of it. And it's going to keep happening because the rappers are going to still keep hanging out with them. They're going to still champion them. They're still going to be doing stuff for them for free because they think that this is their pathway to become successful and rich. And the consumer base is going to continue to support them. And it's going to keep happening. Grant Cardone's team, they sent me an email. They sent me a DM 3 months ago before he did something in January with a bunch of black influencers. They sent me personally a DM. Yeah, I never responded. We interviewed Grant. I mean, he has some good information. But I already saw the play of like I'm not really interested in what you like that type of play. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can learn from anybody.
The yacht joint,
huh?
The yacht joint, the mastermind joint.
I don't even know what it was. It was something, but it's just like, you know, I didn't feel it just didn't, you know, it didn't speak to me like this was something that was beneficial. So, but like I said, and we don't have to name names, but you can kind of guess to see. Look, it's a variety of people that run the same play. They have no ties to hip hop culture. They are not part of the culture, but they try to make it seem like they are part of the culture. They have strong, and like I said, they only hanging around hip hop artists. they've only championed hip hop artists, and that's their gateway into Black culture, and they got filthy rich off of it.
Which is a smart strategy, but how much longer
And
will we allow
athletes.
them to do it?
Let's not leave athletes out.
Entertainers, athletes, entertainers,
it's in the same
and
pot.
musicians.
Same thing.
It's in the same bucket, and they got filthy rich off of it. All of them.
But when
Every
we do
one
it,
of them.
it's unprofessional. Why do you guys talk about rap music on the podcast? And it's an investing podcast. I'm like, cause y'all listen to Moneybag Yo more than y'all listen to us. That's why. Shout out to Moneybag. We got to do the arbitrage that Gary doing, and I'm cool with Gary too. But we got to do Gary arbitrage to get y'all to pay attention here. What? And all the investors y'all look to call me.
And then y'all like, yo, why y'all doing stuff with Revolt? Why y'all doing? Because this is what y'all want. This is the blueprint. At the very least, at least we come from the culture.
Yes.
At least we actually listen to hip hop. At least we can actually name 5 Jay-Z songs. Like I could name the Tupac album. Like if this is the route you're going to take, then we're going to take the, like, would you rather get it from us or somebody from the Eastern bloc of Yugoslavia that never even listened to rap music before? Like, if this is the pathway, let's have a real conversation.
Let's be honest.
If this is the pathway to get your attention and to gain mass appeal, at least we are actually authentic about it. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're actually going to listen to Fabulous's mixtape. So you can't be mad and be like, "Oh, y'all hanging around rap." Yeah, well, this is the only thing that you respect.
This is what you wanted.
This is
what we saw in New York.
Respect.
When Don Peebles came out, the applause was great. Floyd came out with no lenses and crazy chain. The crowd, you thought Jesus walked in. I looked at the crowd. For those in the front row, look, I was like, I cannot believe it. I said, "Oh shit, let me go order something there. This y'all want?" Didn't know.
Because we so used to being entertained. That's why, like, having an educational piece, it makes it even that more palatable. Because it's like, yo, you're going to be entertained, but yo, there's education in it too. And the reality is that the people that we talk to, right, especially if they in athletics or the entertainment, they want to hear the information too.
Big facts.
Like they realize it. Like, yo, to a person, yo, y'all, what y'all doing? I don't even think y'all understand how important. Y'all don't even understand. I wish I knew. Had I even know, if y'all was around when I was getting my contracts, my life would be different. But these are the people that they look up to, they praising. So yeah, we gotta stand next to them. Number one, it's important that we stand next to them because that's who you look up to. But number two, they need the information just as much as y'all do. They have the capital because they have a certain talent or they have a certain career path that garnish a lot of money, but they still need the education. It don't stop.
One other point that Matt made is really key, and it's sad, but we know it. He was like, a lot of people wasn't familiar with certain entrepreneurs, and the ones that are like really, really, really wealthy, they don't even want to be on social media because of backlash they face from our community. I'm not saying that y'all got to kiss our ass, but like I say it all the time. The stuff that y'all would say to me in a comment, y'all will never say to Josh. And then you'd be like, well, why doesn't Don Peebles or Robert Smith speak more often? I'm like, for what? They see the commentary too.
It happened. You know how many people? I just when QC sold their company, right? What was that? 2 weeks
ago? Which is a victory.
If you look at the comments, it was y'all sellouts. I can't believe y'all. Like, he's actually commenting back. I think it was P. He's coming back like, nah, y'all don't really understand. It's not no sellout. Like, nah, he's trying to explain to people like, nah, like not.
There's a bigger play with that. Scooter Braun is buying up everything. Record label. We'll talk about
Scooter
this.
Braun like Black Rock.
This is a bigger play. That all of those commentary. Look, QC loved them. They're geniuses. Coach K.
And y'all wouldn't say that to P's face.
MP, but there's some level of commentary. There is some level of commentary for that. There's more underlying. But
absolutely.
Bottom line is this. All of these business guys that's running that play, they're all vultures. Every one of them. I know them personally. Seen it. They're all vultures.
Can they be a vulture if you walk into the trap?
Yeah. A vulture eats off of a dead animal to stay alive. So if you look at black people,
is our culture dead?
We don't have any culture. We don't have a culture.
Thank you.
We don't have a culture. So you blood suckers of the poor. Black people have 1% of the wealth in America. 1% of the wealth in America. think about this. Think about this. Your marketing strategy, you're white, right? Your marketing strategy is to hang around rappers and black entertainers. And this is the culture that you want to. Why don't you try to make it off your own culture? You're trying to. You literally are the
That's a
bloodsuckers of
little
the
point
poor.
to Adam
You're
22.
trying to feed off of the worst as far as the economic structure, right? That's because that's the easiest, the most gullible, and you're looking at that as that's the most influential way for me to rise to the top. Why don't you try to run that play on your own culture? This is what Dame said. It's never happened before. It's never happened before. It only happens with black culture from other people. It never happens in Spanish. You never see it happen in any other culture. It's not happening in Indian culture, in Asian
Japan,
culture,
China, Australia, Pakistan.
Filipino.
No.
It's not happening in any other culture except for black culture and hip hop music.
The other part of the conversation is if Leor and everyone else that is deemed to be vultures own majority of the music rights and things that we claim to be culture, are they not just monetizing an audience that they already built? This is why I tell everyone, if music, and I'm huge golden era hip hop fan, Belly soundtrack was my ish. Some ninjas by half a mil I played probably 19,000 times in my life. So when I go through New York, they be like, yo, you really was rocking. Rest in peace. And we can argue he put Nas on some of the God bodies. That's another story for another day. But hey, if you know, you know. But no, I know. He was a small influence. I'm gonna clean that up real fast. Shout out to Mass Pill, shout out to Nas. No, Nas I ain't messing with
No. Ian, I'm laughing because we had a great what we're talking about. We had a passionate Nas conversation
Shout out
yesterday.
to Fat Joe. All right, let's do this because I want to.
No. But if they groomed us, now this is the truth. They groomed us to only focus on one thing, and Matt said it on his live. He's like, "Yo, Market Mondays should be getting 40,000 live streams." And meanwhile, Tekashi out buying Birkin bags, and it was one of the biggest things ever. Like even in Mexico, Tekashi's a star, superstar in Mexico. How? They're like, and this is honest to God truth, he told on y'all, he ain't telling us. I said, this is a conversation I had Sunday. He told on y'all. He didn't tell on us. I said, shit, good point. So if Leor and everybody helped cultivate us and brainwashed us into not thinking about equity, and I told you before when I talked to Ray Daniels and talked to the team over at Def Jam, no rappers from the Golden Era, Murder Inc., Rockefeller, no one had 401k plans, no one had health care. How is that possible? The only thing that can change that is our unity together. And we got to change that immediately so no one can take advantage of us.
Take it back?
Have to. But do we want it back? The power.
The power.
Of course. The time is running out. Let's do this. What are 3 industries most likely to be disturbed by artificial intelligence?
Number 1 is healthcare. I think the disruption will be good because I think it will make doctors more efficient. But I would really love to see ChatGPT or an equivalent party. And there's already been a couple cases where someone has been able to get diagnosed faster. They weren't able to figure out a cure or treatment plan over a year. And within 2 months of using the platform, they've been able to do so. Number 2, of course, is education. I know there's been a lot of articles and talks about how students are going to use AI in a bad way, but I don't think we've talked about how lesson planning will be easier for teachers.
I'm so far with you. I'm like I know Ian's going to say education, but like that to me, even I think New York State
grading alone.
New York State has banned ChatGPT. Right, or New York City. I know it's either New York City or New York State because of the implications it can have. Like if kids have to take home and actually create stories and create documents, like how do you can't stop it, right? Even from a teaching standpoint, right? Like you said, the lesson planning, but even from standardized testing, right? Like which they continuously become is a huge business that nobody ever talks about. But like even from that standpoint, like they can create this in a matter of an hour. And cut ties with McCall Grill and all these other companies that create these tests and make billions of dollars off of standardized tests, which actually really equate to nothing in the end. Like you disrupt that industry.
That's a hell of a business model you just brought
up.
From
state to state.
And Kaplan and all that.
Come on.
Yeah. That's huge. And the third one, of course, would be social media. They're trying to Bing. When I went on Bing and went on like the test run that I was able to access, it's not bad. It's a little bit buggy, but I'm looking at it from like, imagine if it was $50 a month, $100 a month, and I can hop in Bing and say, hey, reply to every comment, every DM on all social media platforms. Whew, how much time would that save? So I see that there's going to be a disruption that is going to happen. Some are going to be beneficial. Some are going to be, like, for all the coders out there, I would say learn how to program and use the tools of ChatGPT to help you put out more product. That's why I would say when everyone's like, the answer to economic disparity is coding. I'm like, by the time we find out about an industry, it's way too late. Coding was the wave like in the early 2000s, late 1990s. You have to learn how to program some of these algorithms and make them work for you. I would get on. My homework assignment for everyone is whatever your job function is, get on ChatGPT or a competitor and see what you can do to actually like replace yourself and be like a conductor of using AI to make you way more productive.
I think those are definitely industries for sure. A few industries that I think financial services, I think, will be extremely impacted by artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about they're predicting the stock market, but even bigger than that, I feel like we talked about the insurance industry. I don't think any part of financial services will not be impacted by artificial intelligence. Financial services is going to be a big
Especially
artificial
if you're not good.
intelligence play.
Yeah.
Travel, of course, can't forget travel, from self-driving cars to, I mean, they're probably gonna have a self-driving plane soon, or with AI just driving the plane, and there's no more room for pilots, because pilots, they got to have certain hours where they can only work a certain amount of hours, and then they got to sleep, and then they got so it's like, imagine if you could just have a plane that runs 24 hours a day. How much more efficient would travel be if planes didn't have to sit down and didn't have to switch travel crews, and you didn't have to switch pilots, and if you just had the plane takes off in Seattle, lands in New York, then goes to Puerto Rico, then goes to Mexico, and it just keeps running on its own without having to deal with the human element of it. That's something I think the travel aspect on every way possible, travel is definitely going to be affected. And we talked about social media, but just, I feel like any form of content creation, whether it's for writing books, whether it's making movies,
scripts,
whether it's musical production, any form of content creation,
Customer service for sure.
artificial intelligence is going to play a major part in that situation, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can we just touch on social media real quick?
Yes.
What are our thoughts on the verification monetization process from Instagram and Facebook? $12 to now be verified. I've seen some interesting takes on it. What's your thoughts?
So I'll give a positive about Meta. I do like that Zuckerberg is finally back in the saddle, being a CEO and trying to create ideas. So I like that part. I don't like the copying of Twitter's model. Now, if they would have did it 2 years ago before everyone else was doing it, man, they probably could have made $20 or $30 million a month at maybe 50 to 75 a month for Instagram verification. I don't like that Meta has become a laggard. That's one of my main issues I always bring up. But there's so much bureaucracy at Meta, especially at HQ, and it's a leadership thing too. Shouldn't be saying this before my meeting going to them, but in the spirit of transparency, this is what has always worked for me. There isn't anybody at Meta that Zuckerberg trusted like he did Sandberg. So in the same way that Jordan will listen to Phil or text winners, that person isn't there anymore. So I like that he's getting on the offensive. He's been a lot more creative since that drop of last year, but it's a clear copy of Elon's model. That part I don't like. 2 years ago, it would have been brilliant. I think he may have lost a little bit touch about what the audience really wants, but even with the AI and the automation, if he can clean up that feed and also give us more content that we want to see, take the bots out, have better engagement, there could be some upside. But I hate any brand that copies another brand's model. What do you think?
I feel like it's stupid. I think it's a dumb idea. Because the whole point of the whole point of being verified is this: you're supposed to be like a public figure, right? And it's like, if every single person is verified, then it defeats the whole purpose of having the verification check. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people that don't agree with that. They're going to be like, oh, he's speaking from a position of privilege, whatever. Everybody can have their own opinion. But I feel like, that's for people that have earned that public figure persona.
Yeah.
Some things in life, everybody's not equal in life. Like, it's just is what it is, right? You have to work on a certain level to get it if you want it. Some people, a lot of people could care less about being verified. But if you do care about being verified, then do something to be verified. It should be more than just paying $12. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of it. If every single person on Instagram is verified, it's stupid.
I think I'm with you on that. So when I heard it, I'm just kind of thinking to myself, all right, well, if I can pay to be verified, that okay, whatever. That's $12 a month. If somebody creates a page in my name and pays $12 a month, do they not become verified?
Well, you got to have an ID. You got to submit ID.
That part I do like. Yeah.
So the other part of it is like what, like you said, if everybody's verified, then who's who, right? Like, I think maybe the solution is do they come up with another color? Is the color now gold from the people?
That's hella whack though.
Right. It's like it becomes too challenging when everybody's the same. Like, how do you distinguish? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those things. It's like, all right, I see it from the standpoint where they're trying to garnish revenue, but now you're kind of making the playing field almost like it's like who's who now? Everybody has a blue check.
Stupid.
I agree. I like Shook Shotty. I agree. It's stupid, but also when you're like hurting for revenue, you got to find a way to bring some value back into the company. They've been on a hell of a run. They need to get to that 240 mark, if you will. But no, I don't think this is the best idea. But them having more paid services, I think, is definitely going to come down the pipeline. It was one of the first things that I pitched, is for them to have like a lot more services to help the business owners. But also, the only reason that this is available, you got account managers that would take 10 grand from people that would like, you could pay to get verified. Or the verification process would take so long. I mean, I've had 2,000 fake pages. Like, there needs to be more efficiency, like in the ranks. But that's one of the biggest issues plaguing Meta, is lack of efficiency in the bureaucracy there. If they clear that out, Meta would be like a top five company in the world. There's just too much bureaucracy going on right now.
What has been one of the best performing commodities no one's talking about?
On the future side, you guys need to go look at the ticker is /LE if you are on Thinkorswim. It is live cattle future. So when I looked from April of 2020, it was at 76. It's currently at 164. So when Kramer says, hey, there's always a bull market somewhere, no pun intended, because it's live cattle, that is very true. So I want you guys to get into a habit of looking at everything across the board. But yeah, around that $80.15 mark was a good place to buy on a swing trade. I would exit around 168. So we're almost there. But in every market, even if the stock market is going down, there's always something you can buy. So on the future side, you have gold, the euro dollar, you even have feeder cattle. You have lean hog, you have copper, you have heat and oil, but cattle, live cattle, the price of it, of course, has went up over the last year. It's been a great move. So I want you guys to look at stocks. I want you to look at indexes, but I also want you to look at the commodities list to see where you can have a move. Even like something as small as coffee. You can trade wheat and coffee. And if you come to the live show in Los Angeles, I will cover how to trade heat and oil, live cattle, wheat, palladium, gold. We haven't got to vibranium yet, Troy, but maybe next year. Shout out to Matty J.
Shout out to Matty J. It's interesting when we were in Austin last year, and we brought, when we're talking about what are some things that people can invest in, and we're in America's heartland, and Live cattle is one of the biggest commodities there.
Absolutely.
And so when we brought up the topic, people were just kind of taken back, like, huh? What? I'm like, well, these are the things that are around you. Like, well, you're using an iPhone. Yeah, you have Microsoft Word. Yeah, you might be driving a Tesla. Those are the obvious ones, right? But like, look at the world around you. Where do people go to work? Right? What are the biggest industries in these states, in Texas, in Oklahoma, in Kansas, in Iowa? What are the biggest industries there?
Yep.
Right? It's like one of those things that's in plain sight, but we kind of just are looking at it as an opportunity. But it's one of those things like, these are the commodities that businesses are thriving in where you live. New York City, probably not as obvious, right? Because we don't see it. But in the heart of America, these are the things that are thriving.
You have to look at everything that we buy, consume, or see. There's a company that is making money off of it. And if you look at the derivatives market, there's a way you can trade it to make money off of it. So like cotton from the shirt, diamond, silver, gold. That's when people are like, is something a good investment or not? It's like, it depends on time frame you're looking to hold. But everyone was talking about the egg crisis 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like, gold is a good hedge when the market is going down. There's always a way to like build a portfolio that allows you to hedge and make money in any market. And that's the sign of a great trader or investor. Regardless of what the market is doing, you are calibrated to win and have it to the upside. So put on gold, silver, palladium, live cattle, wheat, crude oil on your watch list on the commodity side, cocoa as well.
And in 2022, the best performing commodities were coal, number one, lithium, number two, which we spoke about the past couple of weeks, and nickel. Things that we don't think about, but obviously we brought them up. So just keep it in your mind, keep it on your watch list. Just be aware that these things are happening.
Let's talk about your thoughts on Oracle and corn futures.
Oracle is a legacy 1990s boring company, but when I was doing my research over the weekend, they've been pushing up a little bit since the beginning of last year. I don't think it's one of the sexiest companies to have. This is like, if you're older, maybe from 40 to 75. Oracle's like a safe company to invest in. I like it around $57.50. It should get back to $97.38 within the next 18 to 24 months. There's a lot of ways they've mismanaged the company and why they are not like a top 10 company in tech. But if you look at the history of the chart, I mean, of course, in the 80s, I mean, the 90s, it was at a super low price, like at $5, $10, right? But even going back to 2020, we were at $40.22. It's now at $87. Wasn't that much drawdown. And if I look at year over year, the volume is always steady. They have very few quarters where they end up losing or bleeding out money. So if you want a safer tech stock that isn't going to draw down your portfolio, that'll give you like slow and steady gains, this kind of like reminds me of John Deere a little bit. Like, it'll be slow and steady. You're not going to be able to tweet out that you got 300% gain, but you won't lose any sleep over this one. So Oracle is something I would definitely add to your watch list if you're a little bit older and you're looking for technology exposure, but don't want the erratic volatility of like a Meta or a Snapchat. So I like Oracle a lot.
When we talk about, and you brought up volume, I brought up volume earlier, is there a threshold number, especially if I'm a new investor, that I should be looking at it? Is it 1 million trades, or is it between 5 to 10? Is there a threshold that would be key for somebody who's trying to invest in a stock?
At least has to have 500,000 shares traded year over year minimum, at least. A quick tool though that people can use that I haven't talked about before. I think I talked about it at a live show last year. So you know how you can use Fibonacci retracements on a chart. You can also put them on the volume on your lower studies. So like, I like to buy, if I'm going to do off volume only, I'll go like the entire chart. And maybe, well, this is something I can do at the live show in Los Angeles. But when it gets to like the drop of 90%, so 10% off the low, I would want to buy it there and then ride it up for 4 or 5 years. So if you look at Oracle, the last time the shares was that low, like, was in 2009. The price was at $15. It's at $87.20 28 cents now. And also, if you know what those highs are based on your fibs, you'll know when you should exit as well. So if I look at ARKK, if you see what the volume has been high to low year over year, the volume is pretty of now for 2022 is back what it was in 2019. So, but if you come to the live show at Novo Theater, me, Troy, and Rashad, and special guests will be there. I will show you an illustration on how to use Fibonacci retracements on the volume to know when is the best time to get in. Back to you guys.
Yeah, maybe that's a section, right? We'll put the chart, an actual chart up, so people can understand the correlation between the volume inside of a stock,
absolutely,
the relative strength, and the correlation between them. Because I mean, those are things when you just look at a chart, if you don't know, then you're just like, oh, okay, those are lines that are going up and down, and what does it mean? But I mean, they all obviously have a purpose, but understanding the deeper purpose for them, it makes you a better investor.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's give some commentary on what we did this week. All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend. First and foremost, shout out to the NBA PA. And Chase, Khadijah, the whole team. You guys are amazing. We did an event with the NBA PA. We interviewed Jordan Clarkson, Baron Davis, and
Walker
Kessler. Yeah. Good gentlemen, all of them. Good dudes. So that was cool. Salt Lake City, Utah. And we had some eventful. Shout out to Eastside Golf, first and foremost. Those guys are everywhere. They're everywhere we are.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But there was some lessons in this situation, just like there always are lessons. We went to a variety of different parties and activations. And it's really important to make sure, I think, that you're putting out the best quality product as possible, because you never know who's watching. And that's something that it sounds cliche, but it's real. So it's like when we go to Chris Paul's party, right? And Chris Paul has the party of All-Star Weekend. You go to Chris Paul's party and you see Chris Paul, you see KD.
Hold on. I gotta stop you because it's an important person you didn't shout out.
Who?
Humble.
Shout out to Humble.
Humble was in the building? Boy.
Humble actually got us into Chris Paul's party. Yeah. And Humble and Chris Paul's brother. Shout out to Humble though. Humble, he's a legend. Humble's actually a legend.
Certified.
Yeah, seriously.
He's actually a legend.
Humble on the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a legend.
We're working on something.
Humble's a legend. So yeah. So we was with Humble. But Chris Paul, KD, Jason Tatum, Carmelo Anthony, Allen Iverson, Dwayne Wade,
Giannis,
you name it. The whole All-Star team was there, right? So, it's just crazy to be in. It's a small room with every single player in there. So I knew that Chris Paul followed us. So I was telling Troy, like, we got to see CP3 because we were trying to actually connect with him for a minute. And I knew he followed us. So I knew at the very least he was aware of who we are. And as soon as I said we got to find CP3, I turn around and he's right there.
Hey, guys.
So he like, I say what's up to him. And, sometimes like you say what's up to somebody.
Did we get a chance to say what's up?
Yeah, I said what's up to him. And he was like, what's up? But sometimes it takes a second to actually look at somebody's face and see who they are. So he was like, what's up? Then he looked at me. He was like, oh. He's like, yo, I watch. His first thing he says is, I watch everything. He said, I watch everything.
That's
he said,
fire.
Steve Harvey. He said, yo, I watch everything. And then he introduced me to his wife. He like, yo, I'm on it. He's like, I watch everything on YouTube, everything on social media. I watch everything. He's like, I watch everything. So we had a dope conversation, but it's crazy because it's like I knew that he knew who we was, but I had no idea that he watches every single thing that we put out.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the next day, we go to the boardroom brunch, which is
before we left there because so Dwayne Wade, same thing. What's up? Jason Tatum, same. It was interesting to walk into the space because you never know who knows, right? Like you walk into the space and you're kind of like, maybe some people are familiar, but maybe some people aren't, right? They might have heard the name, but they don't really understand. Jason Tatum walked past and he looked, eye contact, but he didn't really say anything. And he came back and he stopped, he tapped me, and it was just kind of one of those mutual things like, yo, bro, I respect it. I respect what y'all do. And I was just like, yo, man, you're incredible. I love what you're doing. But even more importantly, what you're doing, having your son and showing Black fatherhood is equally as important as what you're doing on the court. And he was like, yo, keep going. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. That's great because you just never
fire.
know. Yeah, that's what it goes back to that point where he's saying like, yo, listen, make sure that you show up in these rooms, but you show up with value. And I don't know how many times since that monologue of, yo, you never know when you're gonna run into the person, so make sure that you have your value add
every time.
Yo, every single time. And now people are walking around and when they say they're like, yo, I didn't know this was going to be the moment. I'm like, it's cool. Let's just have a conversation.
It always happens when you least expect it. And that's a good point that Troy did. Troy always has a custom like greeting for everyone he meets, and this shit's really genuine. This is why, like,
I'm studying them. I'm studying them all.
Yes,
I'm telling you, like, official scout team. If I see like your brother or your cousin or your agent or your security, I know you close. I'm like, all right, I bet it's already running my head. This was gonna happen.
So then the next day we at the boardroom brunch, and everybody was there as well. So, and I had my son with me the whole weekend. Shout out to Nas,
which is fire.
So that was dope. So
he had a weekend.
I have him in the boardroom brunch. Shout out to Fab. He actually. So first time we first walked in there, I'm by the bar. And I'm with my son, and Fab came over. He's like, yo, what's up, bro? And he's like, it's your son? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, what's up? And, Nas kind of gave him like a nonchalant handshake.
Nas don't care about nobody.
So Fab, he's like, yo, my son the same way. So then he left, and I'm like, yo, why you ain't, like, say what's up to Fab? He's like, Fabulous? And he's like, that was Fabulous? I'm like, yeah, that was Fabulous. Like, what do you mean?
Oh, my God.
Bro. So, who that sound like? This guy right here, bro.
So later on, and it so we see KD, and shout out to KD, man. It's just some people
KD
just
amazing.
So we see KD, and he's like walking towards me. So I'm about to say what's up to him, but before I got a chance, he put his hand on my shoulder. He was like, yo, respect what y'all doing, man. I love it. And I'm like, yo, we start talking about like what he got going on. He's like, nah, I rock. He's like, I rock with y'all heavy, man. Watch it. I love what y'all doing. And this is something that Dame Dash told me early on. There's two type of people in this industry. One type of person when you ask for the number and they give you the assistance number. The other type of person when you ask for the number and they give you their own personal
direct number. Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, we got to connect. Like, what's the best way to connect the dots? And he was like,
it's a good question. Say it again, please, because that's going.
Yeah,
that's an easy ask.
You never want to assume like, yo, just give me the number. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what's the best way to connect the dots? And I'll respect it if they be like, yo, talk to him. All right, cool. Connect the dots like that. But he's like, yo, just take my number. And that's one thing that I respect about him, Diddy,
all
Meek
the real
Mill.
ones.
These are all people that's like, yo, take my number. Now, the key to that is what Drake said. Giving you my number, but don't hit me on no dumb shit. I don't just randomly send good morning texts to people. Like, if I'm not wasting the number, like I'll hit you when it's time to hit you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not just like, yo, what's up, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hit you. Yo, this is Rashad from Earn Your Leisure. Just lock me in. So you lock me in. And then it might be 5 months later until I actually hit you. Right? But that's extremely official. Don't hit me on no dumb. That goes for me personally too. If I give you my number, please don't hit me.
Block
just
game
randomly.
Phenomenal.
Don't hit me. No dumb.
It happens too often, bro. Like, yo, what y'all doing tonight? Hey, great meeting you. Would love to connect. Hey, want to do lunch? Hey, how's the family?
And then when you hit somebody, hit them with something. Don't hit them on some like, hey, can we figure out how to work together? That just lets me know.
Send me the project done. Yeah. Let me say this. Don't say, hey, can we get on for a 30-minute technical brainstorming session? Send me the project done. Now, I'm going to say this. This is me. Now, I know humility all out the window. I did not get rich to sit in meetings all fucking day. Send me the project done. Then
you don't have time. You don't have time to sit in a meeting all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I want to pick your brain. Stop saying you want to pick somebody's brain. This is one of the biggest lessons in business. Never tell somebody you want to pick their brain. Never tell somebody you want to brainstorm. unless it's a real working relationship. Like let's say us and Ian, like we could say we got a working relationship.
But even those are short though, right?
Yeah, if you
we don't kill 2 hours.
If you just meet somebody for the first time, never say I want to pick your brain. I want to brainstorm. I'm telling you, it's not gonna. It's a complete turnoff. I'm telling you. Please
or if you're pitching your company, you should say, "Hey, this is my company. Consider being an investor. If you put in 100,000, you'll get 700,000."
Yeah, the pick your brain thing. You got to. So I mean, you got to like take this into account. You walk outside. Every time you interact with somebody, they want to pick your brain. They want advice. They want you to look at their portfolio. They want to tell you, ask you how you did it, right? And you're going to be receptive to that. Like that's one of the things we're always going to be receptive to that. So to now have somebody say, let's take this further and pick your brain again on an hour call, when we don't really have the luxury of the time to do that, you can see how it could become extremely overwhelming on like this is on a daily
basis.
So like if you have a very concrete and concise idea, like we spoke to a bunch of people this weekend, they had concrete ideas. And I was like, yo, that's interesting. I'd love to hear more about it. Do you have a deck? Can you just send it to us?
Deck, send me the video.
And get it over to us. And maybe we can see something we can work in the future. That's more time efficient, right? You have something, send it to us. If it's something that we love or we see we can help, then that can lead to a potential partnership. But the pick your brain to just drain your energy and your ideas is
the pick your brain thing.
It's tough, man.
Pick your brain thing is crazy.
It's tough.
But not two more things before we finish this conversation. Donovan Mitchell. This also is a very important story to tell.
Oh, he from where y'all from, right?
Yeah. So Donovan. Okay. So shout out to his pops, Big Donovan. He's actually a legend within himself. He used to play for the Mets.
Yeah, he's actually, we saw him yesterday. He's headed to spring training today.
Yeah, he works for the Mets now. He was a great baseball player. So we knew Donovan. So Donovan's from the next town over from us. We're from a town called Greenburgh. He's from a town called Elmsford. It's kind of similar. It's the same neighborhood, but it's kind of like crosstown.
They're a village.
It's crosstown rivalry, but it's still in the same situation. They like our little brothers. But Donovan was somebody I'll never forget. When I came home from college, I ran a summer league. Rest in peace to Boston. And
rest in peace.
I ran this 12 and under summer league in the park in the community center. And I'll never forget. And he played, I don't even think he was 12. I think he was like 11 or 10. He was younger than what he was supposed to be playing in. And he had like a size 14 shoe. Like his feet was humongous. And his hands was humongous also. But you could just tell like the kid was like talented and he was gifted. And, we knew his parents. And watching him grow, he didn't go to school in New York. He went to school in Connecticut. But I remember when he signed to Louisville and just watching his growth and progression.
Yeah.
And to see him from the time that I knew him when he was 12 years old to be a starter in the All-Star game, to score 71 points in one game this season, to have his own signature shoe at Adidas. So this is the first time that I actually saw him for in a very long time. We was actually at his draft day. When he got drafted, we was actually
got the video
in the suite with his family when he got drafted.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So,
I was sitting there like, just not because you're all, but we were sitting in that room. And just as a diehard Bulls fan, we had the number 9 pick. And I'm like, yo, Don's there. We got to take Don. And I looked at his pops. I'm like, he was like, not happening. I'm like, they're not taking him? He's like, not going to happen. So I'm like, all right, well, where's he going to fall?
Mistake.
You think?
The Knicks drafted him. I was hoping he'd get drafted by Miami.
The Knicks took Frank Ntilikina.
Yeah, the Knicks missed out. The Knicks missed out on that one. They definitely missed out on that one.
All the picks New York should have had.
Yes.
Steph and him, bro. Anyway.
They missed out on that one. But to see him now with a signature shoe, $200 million contract, and just still the same person that I remember. Like, he's like, yo, it's great to see y'all. Just that warm embrace was super dope. And that was a dope moment for me to see somebody come from that full circle. I'm happy. I'm proud for him. And I think everybody should be proud. Like, you should be proud of other people's successes. You shouldn't take other people's successes as a threat. another person's success is not a threat to your success. That's what people have to understand. A lot of times they like, all right, the odds of making it is 1 in a million. So if we come from a very small town where nobody has ever made it, if one person makes it to the NBA, then nobody has a chance to be successful in life because he takes the slot. He takes the lottery slot. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not true. And you can see that just from us. Like his success has nothing to do with our success. It's not like he made it, so now the faucet is cut off and nobody else is ever going to make it for another 100 years.
Yeah, I just want to add to that because, I mean, prior to him even playing in that, the 12-year-old, I remember when he was like 7 years old. So his dad was a basketball coach at the rival high school that we went at. So we knew him pretty closely. Shout out to Hose and the Hose family. That's his uncle, his godfather. So we known him since he's like a kid. When we got to that Adidas event, before we took that picture, that moment that we have on IG, we walked into each other and I looked at him and he was like, yo, it's been a long time. And I'm like, yo, I'm so proud of you. But bigger than us, man, for our community, right? That picture when we're together and I'm like waving to his mom, it means a lot. To, like you said, like this is a young man who's done it in athletics, but we've done it in a different route. Right. And so it shows the dynamics of what we can do from a small place, right? Like our town is not that big. It's not a big town. But to see people from the same area have success in different asset classes, right? Different forms of business, to be in one moment, to capture that is like, yo, that means a lot to our community. Yeah. And in that room, let me tell you something, man. In that room, there are stars in that room. But Donovan was the star of stars. Like you saw the cameras follow, and we're not gonna say names, but there's all stars in there. There's Hall of Fame talent in there. There's Adidas execs in there. Yeah. And when he moved, the room moved. Gotcha. I'm like, so you know what I mean? Like, it's not many times you see somebody through the progressions of life. You see them as a child, as a young man, as an adult, and now as a superstar. It's crazy to see the evolution, man. So the only thing I could think of, like, yo, super proud of him. Now, I know we're going to go into something, but remember the Adidas conversation we had last week, right? Y'all remember? Yep. I'm sure y'all remember. I want y'all to keep that in the back of your mind.
What the number going to look like?
Oh, yeah, we spoke to some people at Adidas. They gave us some commentary.
They watching too.
Hello to everyone at Adidas.
Shout out to Adidas.
Shout out to the James Harden collection.
Okay, the last thing I'll say about this weekend.
We're gonna leave Rich Paul out. We'll say that for another time. We gotta say that for another time. Next week, let's do it in the studio. Let's do it in the studio.
No. We gotta have a separate whole situation. Damn, it'd be so much to talk about, man. It's so much to talk about. Rich Paul, that's an hour-long conversation.
Market money's bonus.
Rich Paul is a legend. Rich Paul is a legend. Let's just leave it at that. Rich Paul, we had a 2-hour conversation.
Then the other ones y'all had. So this is how many hours y'all got?
No. This wasn't an interview. This was like.
I mean, yeah.
This is off the record.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is Rich.
Those be the ones.
Shout out to Dell. Shout out to Elijah.
Yo.
Shout out to Georgia.
Me, Troy, Rich, Dell, and Elijah. If you know, you know.
You know.
That was like a 5 o'clock in the morning on the corner. Rich Paul he's classic.
Can you give the audience one big lesson that you learned from this amazing conversation on the corner for the people?
Your friends are extremely valuable. Your friends are extremely valuable.
That's it.
Rich Paul.
Give him the line. Just give him the line.
I can't give him the line because that's giving too much.
All right.
But your friends are extremely valuable. And he drilled that down to us. He's been able to make great connections with a lot of, very influential, rich, and powerful people. He's been able to, maneuver his way through the industry. Your friends are extremely important.
And I'll add this other lesson from him. He's thinking 10 to 20 years down the line.
As he
at
should
all
be.
times. At all times. So whatever you see him in, and the things he works, trust me, he's thinking like, all right, 10 years, what does this look like?
And don't call him a sports agent. Calling him a sports agent is the equivalent to calling us podcasters. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. So shout out to him. Shout out to Clutch Athletics. They just launched a new athletic line. So shout out to them.
This is the last story.
The whole team.
This is the last story. So we're at dinner yesterday. Shout out to Dion from Revolt, my brother. We are When this one drops, nothing will ever be the same. I can't speak too much on that. But shout out to Dion, shout out to Jex. We was at dinner yesterday, and we having a great conversation for about a couple of hours, and then we look at the private room next to us, and then we see Fab, and we have been running into Fab all weekend. So I was like, "Oh, Fab, what up?" Then I seen Rich Player. Shout out to Rich Player. That's Fat Joe's manager. Then we see Fat Joe. So I'm like, I gotta say what's up to Fat Joe. That's our guy. So we go in, we say what's up to Fat Joe. Mind you, we only want in there to say what's up to him. Maybe like, have a 2 hours later.
You guys are everywhere.
2 hours later.
Joe, the most loving person ever, yo.
I want the audience to understand the first thing he says. Yo, what are y'all? Yo, y'all really y'all gotta explain this to me.
Can I
I gotta explain it.
Let me say it. So
what's happening?
So let me go. So we say what's up to Fab, say what's up to Rich, say what's up to Joe. And Joe's sitting in a chair. And he looks, and he was like, yo, what's really going on with y'all? Like, what's really going on with y'all? I'm like, he's like, no. Like, what's really going on with you? He's like, cause he's like, you're running up on me in the Grammys, you're in Davos. He's like, what's happening here? What's happening?
It's like, he said, and he had the music mind. He said, yo, are y'all promoting something? Like, is something coming out? Like, what is, like, yo, y'all got a line y'all about to drop? Like, yo, just tell me what it is.
This is par for the course. Yeah.
And I'm telling him, like, yo, we're everywhere you are because we're everywhere business is.
He's like, nah, see, me and Fab, we out here, we performing. Like, what are you doing? He's like, what is going on? Like, what's happening? And so Fab, like, I be seeing them everywhere. Might be seeing them everywhere. So this turned into a 2-hour conversation, a passionate debate about rap music, a passionate debate about LeBron versus Jordan, a passionate debate about boxing, a passionate debate about
the top 50 list.
Yo, Fat Joe is this guy. Everything that you see, like, that is him in 10 times more. This guy is the ultimate personality. He's the ultimate personality, storyteller. This was probably one of the most classic conversations that we've ever had in history.
Super knowledgeable. And every area we just spoke about, he is, you want to talk basketball?
Yeah.
Super knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable. Obviously music, super knowledgeable. But then he's telling us like, yo, I get it, but nah, y'all keeping something from Joe Crack. Like, y'all keeping something. Y'all don't want to tell Fat Joe something, man. And I'm really sorry to take
inquisitive.
He's like, nah, you're not telling me the whole story. Shout out to Fat Joe, man. 2-hour conversation.
We told him cool.
Story. Fat real quick. Adam do something for the soundtrack last year. He's like, make this make sense. You want to put out sound for what? I was like, oh, the promotional thing. He's like, no one's coming to do music. Everyone's leaving music. He's hella inquisitive. And, Joe, one of my favorites, when Pac went to jail, he, shout out Muta. Joe sent some protection for Pac when he was like, Joe, a solid person. But he also was like, yo, navigate this industry right. Get in, get out, because you don't want to get stuck. But he's hella and funny as hell.
Joe,
super down to earth. So
Joe, at the end, he was like, I'm telling y'all, he's like, he always tells his street stories and different. He's like, I'm not none of these rappers. He's like, yo, I'm not none of these rappers.
He ain't nothing to play with.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He really isn't.
Shout out to Joe, man. That dude is one of the funniest people ever. And shout out to Fab, man. Fab is one of the coolest people ever. Like, he's really that type of person in real life. He's like, yo, y'all doing a seminar? Are y'all got a seminar going?
Yo, we see him all the time, bro. I promise, we see him all the time. And this is the first time he was, because we like, yo, maybe he just didn't remember doing Invest Fest. But last night he was just like, yo, is it a seminar y'all doing? Because I remember I did your first joint.
The first joint,
like a couple of years.
He's like, but it got a lot bigger since.
And I just keep seeing y'all.
Yeah,
like we see him.
It's a good
we
lesson.
see him at the most random place. Like
we
see him at 3 bowling alleys already.
Oh wow!
Shout out to Fab, man. Fab is
New York. What up?
Good lesson for entrepreneurs. The promo does not stop. Don't go on and go off. Promo has to stay on. You're doing world tour. Took my ass right to Mexico. Let me go see what these shows looking like in other parts of the country and see.
Important.
Promo does not stop. Even there, I'm like getting stopped, getting noticed. I'm like, we got to turn up this heat internationally, especially if you're seeing the dispersion of what's happening in other countries. Like, Everyone put what your dream is in chat. We're getting a chance to live ours, and I will hope that you will experience part of it with us in LA at Novo Theater. Please get your tickets to Market Mondays Live. 10 new tips on trading I never talked about, 10 new ones on swing trading. I'm even going to cover how to build up a small account with futures. And if I've made you money, please put yes in chat. Back to you guys.
Put yes in chat. Market
CA
Mondays.
family, like, I like your delivery. You're getting better. You just got to focus. No attitude, okay? They even gave me the category breakdowns. They're like, media likes this kind of black guy for this amount. I was like, oh, y'all give me a little booper. Okay, I'm going to chill. Run it up. The media trader.
Oh, man. What a life.
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles, California.
We're on the way.
We're on the
Where
way.
day y'all going?
We head out Thursday, so we'll be out there Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, I had that same day.
Sunday. Yeah.
LA.
Shotty, what day your party? Saturday?
Yes, Sirski.
I need to get that Wednesday. I need some sleep. Your parties be different.
Sleep on the plane.
Yes, Sirski.
I can't wait.
Oh, man. All right. It's been real, ladies and gentlemen. Can we just do one thing for just one quick minute? I know Troy gave me a hard stop, but can we just talk just a minute on the education as far as what's the best way to judge if the volume of a stock is strong in a stock?
I covered it a little bit with the Fibonacci retracement, but I don't want to make the time short, so let's go over it next week. And then in LA, I'll give the full breakdown with charts and setups. Yeah. I think
do it the right way.
I don't want to shorten.
Do it the right way.
Don't cheat the audience.
Get your tickets to Novo Theater. March 11th.
How much are the tickets?
Cheap, affordable.
Wow,
they're affordable. They're affordable.
Extremely affordable.
It's a recession, so we gotta.
If this don't sell out fast, y'all, listen. I'm finna make tickets $700 a piece.
At least,
boy,
with an NFT attached to it. you must join the.
Grant Cardone will be at the Chicago show. The Vultures tour coming now. Let me go call Gary and Grant right now. Hey, if this is what y'all want, I'll go call Adam. What's happening? The Vultures and Villains tour. Me, Loon, Adam 22, Grant. What we doing?
The big three.
Hey,
VV.
That's actually not a bad idea though.
The Vultures and Villains tour. That's not bad.
VV.
I'll be villain number one. What's up? What's happening? Y'all be mad all y'all want to.
Promoting live events.
VV.
Hey.
All right, guys. It's been real. Check out Earn Your Leisure tomorrow. Legendary episode with Cheryl McKissick Daniel. We will be on live at 8 o'clock on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we are headed to LA this weekend for the NAACP Awards.
Go vote.
Don't forget to vote like it's the presidential election.
Yeah, we need it. Yo, shout out to
Vote or Die.
It is Pisces season. Shout out to Spanx. I think Spanx's birthday is today. Shout out to Ed. I know his birthday's coming this week. And Ty. Ty is Ty was on that court yesterday for that game. He was on the court for the All-Star game. Shout out to Ty, man. We met him over a year ago. He's been doing incredible work, man. We got mad love for Ty. It's his birthday's coming up, so shout out to him as well. Pisces season's here.
Oh, and shout out to my guy Abel. He just had his daughter was just born this morning.
Oh, congrats.
So, congrats, my guy. I love you. I appreciate you so much.
Love is love. Y'all tap into each other. Reach out. One text, one conversation could change somebody's life, man. So make sure y'all do that. Check in on your loved ones. We'll see y'all next week. Traveling mercies on everybody. Love is love.
Adios.
Peace.